Today we are recording A Journey of Self-Discovery, Day 1, Search for Happiness. So you can see this?
Yeah.
It's visible? Sonia,
Right.
tell me if there's any glare or anything. So this is the Journey of Self-Discovery course. It's basically also called as Bhagavad Gita, basic Bhagavad Gita course. Because what we do in this course is that you see that I'm not giving you a Bhagavad Gita, I'm giving you a file.
I don't know.
Yes. You were writing, so I just kept it there. And there's a writing pad also. In case you want to write down something or you find something, anything, it's just for your use. So this course basically has the basic topics or the basic themes of Bhagavad Gita. Yeah? There's Ishwar, Jeev, Ishwar is God, Jiva is us, the souls, Prakriti, the material nature that we see around us, Kal, the time factor that is there in this world, so predominating, and Karma, that is good things happening to bad people and bad things happening to good people. So these are the 5 topics that we will be discussing thoroughly in these 6 sessions. And the last session will be practical application of Bhagavad Gita. What did Arjun do after hearing the entire Bhagavad Gita? That is what we are going to discuss in the last day of, that's the most important day. Yeah? So now, just quick instructions. Just 2 or 3 few things we'll remember. In case you have any questions, we'll be having time in the end, 15 minutes. Just today or maybe otherwise it's okay.
Yeah.
Mostly this class will run up to 1:15, and then I'll be asking my trainer, Premnidhi Prabhu, to join us. Because if you have some questions which I might not be able to satisfactorily answer, so then he can, maybe help you. Or just some topics that we quickly revise with him also. Okay? Is that okay? Yeah, so questions in the end. In case you have some questions which is pressing and you just can't go ahead, you can ask. Okay? Most of the time what happens is, most of the questions are answered till day 5. And there will be some questions about maybe heavenly planets or this or that, or you might think it's just mythology that we're hearing. Yeah, sometimes these questions pop up in our mind, so these things will happen. I'll tell you specifically which day this question will be answered, or maybe I'll give you a brief. Both of these. So this is Journey of Self-Discovery. Quick recap of what we're going to do in these 6 days. Today is Search for Happiness. Today's session. The next session, that is next Friday, will be Does God Exist? And are scriptures the word of God? Because many people think scriptures are mythology. What is the basis? What is the authenticity? There's so many things we hear about, Draupadi got an invisible sari and this, and how to believe in these things. Correct? Are they true? Are they mythology? Or just some stories for us to get some morality? What is it? Yeah? And day 3 is Who am I? What is my identity? Right? And day 4, that will be the 4th Friday, we will be doing one God or many gods. I usually call this the famous Indian confusion. And because outside they just have one Allah or one, out of India mostly they are clear about one person. But we have a lot of times the Hindu mythology or the Hindu philosophy is called as pantheism. Means worshipping many gods. Is it really that way? What does the Gita have to say about it? Day 5 is quite a popular topic. A lot of things we ask ourselves this question of why do good things happen to bad people? And why do bad things happen to good people? Is there a system of justice? Or is this system even just? How does it work? How does this karma theory work? And day 6, as I mentioned before, will be practical application of Bhagavad Gita. At any point of time, if you think I'm dragging, if you think I'm boring, please tell me. Or as an I'll do it. Day 1 is Search for Happiness. So what I've done on the board is I've quickly given you a breakup of the entire thing, and I'll keep doing a recap so we focus be fixed at where we are. So today I'll begin with a little bit discussion on Search for Happiness. How are you special? There'll be a little bit of acronyms which will help us remember what we discussed. And then what is happiness? Something called permanent happiness, something called temporary happiness. So we know right now what do I have. Do I have permanent happiness or do I have temporary happiness? Happiness are usually blocked by some problems. Problems again I put into 2 categories, temporary and permanent. Permanent again has some acronym. And how to achieve temporary happiness? That'll be through SMS. It's also an acronym. How to achieve permanent happiness will be the last part of our class, and then we'll have question answers which you can skip. Okay? So I'll try to finish the joke as much as possible. Fine. Search for happiness. Now, if you just think, many people have goals in their life. All of us, hopefully, have some goal in our life. Can you tell me, if you see majority of the population in the world, what is their goal? Can we just put it in certain categories? What goals do they have? To achieve something in career? That be for someone your age. Career. Or maybe your goal will be like, to make your children into bring up children. And money? Of course. Can you forget that? Studies, money, this. If you just think about the psychology behind it, if you are successful, will that make you happy? Right? That's why I'm running after it. Isn't it? If you think your children grow up very happy, very content, very nice, balanced individuals, you will be happy. If we make a lot of money, or our husbands make a lot of money, or our fathers make a lot of money, we'll be content, happy. This is what we think. So basically, if you boil down whatever goals that people have, everything boils down to happiness. Everyone is looking for happiness. What is the population of this world? 6 billion? Around 6 billion, I think, that's what I heard sometime back. 6 billion approximately. Each one is looking for happiness. Do you think anyone's found it? Must have? अभी इतने लोग ढूंढ रहे हैं तो मिल तो गया होगा किसी को. For certain time. For certain time. For certain time. And then? There's something missing. There's something missing, I am happy for some time and then it, kind of when you see, generally this happens to me, when I see something in the mall, I want it so badly. The minute it's in my hand, घर पे किसी कोने में पड़ा रहता है, then I don't even bother using it, Somehow that excitement is, when you get it in your hand, that's not really happiness, it's something else. It's just some momentary pleasure. Temporary happiness. That's what we come to that. What is temporary? What is permanent? But 6 billion people looking for the same thing. Jesus Christ says, "Seek and you shall find." Why are we not able to find it? The problem is that this happiness is in some hidden place. It's like a treasure hunt. Everyone is playing this game to look after this happiness. To this, we come to a story. I'm sure you must have heard this from Jerry Prabhu about a king. When a sage enters, this king was actually not very content in his life. Because he felt that I have so many things, I have everything that I want, but I'm not happy. So then he announced in his kingdom that anyone who makes me happy, I'm going to part with half of my kingdom. It's like a lottery. You just make him happy, that's it. So, the best jokers of the town, the best magicians of the town, everyone came in and everyone tried to entertain him, but nothing was happening. The king was unhappy. Finally, one sage walks in. And the king thinks, he's also after my money. And the sage says, I don't want anything. I just want to give you one activity with which you will find the secret to happiness. Remember it? Good. So then this king says, activity. He says, you have to do something. You have to do it yourself. You can't get it done from your servants. Khud karna. So the king says, okay, fine, I'll do it. What is it? He says, you have to go to the backyard of your palace, where there's this beautiful garden that you have, and you have to catch a butterfly. And he says, that's. So then are they happy? He says, yeah, you're very happy. He says, okay. Then he goes, he tells all his servants to butter, and he tries to catch a butterfly. क्या होता है? You can't catch a butterfly because the more you run after it, the more it runs away. There were so many butterflies, but the king couldn't catch a single butterfly. Half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. He was exhausted. for a butterfly in his life? Immediately he just sat down and he just started thinking, maybe the same could apply. The more you run after happiness, the more it will run away from you, it eludes you. When he was just philosophizing in this way, one butterfly came and sat on his shoulder. So he thought, oh, the more you run after it, the more it runs away from you. But you have to find some mantra that it has to. When you're content, when you're peaceful, it just automatically comes to you. There's a particular thing that you have to do. Right? When you just sit and you're calm, and there's the right time, it comes to you. So everyone is looking for happiness. Now, if you see, there are animals. The entire population of the 6 billion people is only humans, but there are also other species along with us, right? If you categorize everyone, and everyone is looking for happiness, even the animals for that matter, but there is something special about human beings, about the way they search for happiness, and about the way animals search for happiness. How are we as human beings special? This is the breakup of the thing which I made it into more details here, so I won't go into details here. Now there are categories, like even if you go to a mall, there are categories. Now these t-shirts are according to colors. Everywhere there are categories. The categories in a college admission line, you must be going through that. And then even in trains or airplanes, everywhere you go there are categorization. According to some differences and according to some common things, this categorization is made. So if we as humans, we've been given some extra pedestal. Why? What is making us so much special? What is the difference and what is the common things between us and animals? Now Mahabharata gives a beautiful shloka. Say here. Ahara nidra bhaya maitunamcha samanyam pashubir narana. Pashu is animals, nara is humans. There is some saman, there is some common things between animals and us. What is that common thing? Ahara. Can you say what is ahara? Food. Food. Ahara is food. Nidra is sleep. Bhaya is fear. Maitunam is enjoyment. All of us want to do these 4 things. The food. You tell me if you are feeling cold. So 21. We come back to this shloka. So the acronym for what is common between us and animals is SEED. S-E-E-D, where S stands for sleeping, E stands for eating, another E stands for enjoyment, and D stands for defending. And let's see how it is common between us. Now, if you see here, we might have sophisticated ways of eating in hotels, restaurants with a fork and spoon and cutlery and this and that, but basically it is to fill our belly. The basic principle of eating is the same between us and animals. Sleeping. We might have hydro beds. We have high-tech alarms. There is one specific bed which, if you don't wake up in the first or second snooze, it throws you out. And there's an eject system. So animals don't have such high-tech things, but they wake up, basically. So sleeping, basically, when once you go off to sleep, whether you're on a hydro bed or on a water bed or on the street, you don't know where you are. Sleeping is a basic fundamental requirement for an animal as well as for a human being. So S is sleeping, E is eating, another E is mating or enjoyment. We might have we have these multiplexes or amusement parks. Animals have their own sense of enjoyment, maybe they just go to a pool together with family. And across this, actually the sexual enjoyment that is there, which is very basic again between humans and animals. The last thing is, I hate this picture, defending. We have nuclear weapons to defend our countries. Animals have basic, whatever the nature has provided them. The porcupine has its horns, tiger has its claws. Everyone has their own defense mechanism. But everyone needs to defend. When one stray dog goes to the gully of the next stray dog, what happens? Starts defending his territory. Someone enters our house without our authority, we call them chor. And we need to defend our territory. So that basic mechanism of seed, again sleeping, eating, enjoyment and defending. These four are saman between us and animals. Right? Is this principle clear? Now other than seed, there are other things like reasoning, questioning, thinking, logical intelligence, which is there in the animals too. You know, if you see the tailor bird, so beautifully it makes its, he kind of sews up the 3 leaves of the, have you seen a nest of a tailor bird? It's very beautiful the way they make their nest. Even humans cannot make it, that too with their beaks. It's very beautiful. Even, if a dog comes to you and you kind of, chastise it, it knows that, it doesn't have to come back to this person. They have some kind of reasoning, some kind of questioning, some kind of logical intelligence. Yeah? Sometimes their senses are better than ours. There was a particular dog whose master was kidnapped and he led the police just with his sense of smell. Sometimes their senses will be better. But the problem with animals is that they will use this reasoning, they will use this questioning, thinking, and logical intelligence only for sleeping, eating, enjoyment and defending. You have these documentary things in Discovery channels and you see that animals, suppose they take up one species and they cover the entire lifetime of the species. Basically what you will see is how they sleep, how they eat, how they enjoy and how they defend. Have you ever come across any documentary where all the animals have come together and they are discussing, why is this happening to me? Why me? Or why does this tiger trouble us? Or why these seasons are changing like that? They don't ask the question, why? There is definitely something different between animals and humans. That is what the shloka says. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. Adhik is that extra. Adhik means, that extra, that adhik, bolte na isko thoda adhik intelligence hai, matlab we say that, extra intelligence. Something extra is given to the humans. Some ability is extra with the humans which make them a superior species. And what is that? Dharmo hi tesham. Dharma, a sense of approaching God, which is not there in human animals. And orangutan, that orange monkey, it's got almost 90% of brain cells that a human being has. But still it's not a human. It's still an animal. Because there are 4 things, which is A, B, C, D. The acronym for something extra that humans have is A, B, C, D. We'll see what is that dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesha. All these exist. All these things exist in animals. They use it for seed. What makes human beings special? That is this A, B, C and D. The ability for higher inquiry, the amount of access of bliss that humans can have is also extra. Choices which can be made only by human beings. Animals don't have a choice. Last is determination to do something. That is something extra in human beings. And let's discuss this. What is ability for higher inquiry? Now remember one story about Prince Siddhartha. Prince Siddhartha is the one who became Buddha, the enlightened one later. But Prince Siddhartha, his father, the king, he had the horoscope chart of Prince Siddhartha. And he got to know from the horoscope chart that this person, this boy, my child, will become either a great king or he will become a great renunciant. The king started getting scared. The father started thinking that if he becomes a renunciant, then what about my line? What about my lineage? Who will carry on this whole mehnat that I have done of this entire dynasty that I have? Who will take it ahead? So he was thinking that how does one become a renunciant? Then I'll keep my child extremely protected. I will not let him see the reversals of life. I'll keep everything very luxurious for him. He'll be so addicted to luxury that he'll never think of giving them up. So till the age of 16, this Prince Siddhartha, who later became Buddha, had never stepped out of the kingdom. Never seen any problems in his life. Everything was luxury based. Just one day when the king was away, he told his minister that, I want to go outside. I want to see. I've never been out of the palace. It's a big guy, but I've never been out. So the minister did not know this, the plan of the father. So he told, okay, let's go out. He was also astonished. 16 साल का हो गया, कभी बाहर नहीं गया, poor thing, So he took him out. And lo and behold, what did he see? He saw an old person. Never in his 16 years of life he had seen an old person. Can you imagine? You see old people? So many, all around you. But Prince Siddhartha had never seen. He said, "Ye kya hai? Ye kaun hai?" So the minister was like, "This is an old man." He said, "Really? What is old age?" He said, "One day you will also become old. Your body starts. Now you were 1 year old and now you're 16-year-old. One day you will be 60-year-old." So he says, "Oh, okay. I never realized this." Then he says, "All right. What about?" Then he saw someone with leprosy. So he thought, "My God, what is that?" He said, that is a disease. If one day even you will fall sick, everyone falls sick in their life. And like that, he was going to each and every house. Someone is dead, someone is poor, someone is... He saw so many things and he thought that, why is this? Why is this happening? His ability for higher inquiry, and to find out those questions, that burning desire for knowledge became so burning that he went out of his house. So this is something special. An animal never asks questions when you torture them. They just think that, they never ask questions. They might retaliate as a defense mechanism that even humans do, but they never ask logical questions, which is an extra ability with humans. Yeah? If we don't inquire, we're as good as animals. When we inquire, that is a sign of intelligence that humans have. The second thing is bliss. Now this is a little technical part. Bliss, how do you define bliss? It's something more than happiness. It's like extreme happiness. Now animals are also happy being with their family and everything. How do we define our happiness? Now the Shastras have something called, everyone has something called a physical pleasure. Something that when this body gives me happiness. When you're beautiful, it gives you happiness. Right? Like when people look at you, compliment you. It's a physical beauty, it is physical happiness. There's something called emotional happiness. Mental happiness. Like when your emotionally you're very happy. When someone gives you a compliment and based on your intelligence, or sometimes when you're able to have a good relationship with someone, like a husband and wife or two friends, that happiness that you derive out of your emotions, out of relations, is called Swargiya Rasa. Yeah? Physical pleasure is Parthiva Rasa. Emotional pleasure is Swargiya Rasa. And third is Brahman Rasa. In some happiness that someone derives out of their intelligence. Intellectual pleasure. If you see these geeks in college, they'll never be interested in other things. They're so happy in the library. That's a high intelligence. They're not be interested in girls, and the girls who are geeks will not be interested in boys. They're not interested in physical pleasure. That's intellectual pleasure. And there's something called, even higher than that, spiritual pleasure. That's the highest. That is also called as Bhakti Rasa. If I have to compare, physical pleasure is when you get full physical pleasure. Now some people are, they're very rich, extremely rich, they have all the money. That means you can have as much physical pleasure as possible. That's what you need. You need money and resources. If you have all of that, and a lot of times you'll see that even in rich households, there will be rich people eating, very simple soup, and the servants will have paratha and this and that. Why? Because the person is either very bodily conscious or, he doesn't have a good digestion system. That's why he's living a plain life even though having all the resources. So sometimes you don't have a fit body to even enjoy all the resources if you have. But if you have a fit body, you might not have the riches or the resources or the money to enjoy. Sometimes this is lacking or this is lacking. Is there anyone who has both? One parthiva rasa or one unit, if I measure up this pleasure, happiness cannot be measured, but if I try to measure this, one unit of parthiva rasa is when all our senses, our entire body is perfect and we have unlimited resources to enjoy. That is one parthiva rasa. Is there anyone who has this? Any human being who has this? Not even one full parthiva rasa. Yeah? But there is something more higher than this, something that humans can achieve. That is swargya rasa, emotional pleasure. Now, when emotionally you are happy, no matter how much physical distress you have, you can come over it. Why do they say laughter is the best medicine? Because you know that when you are very happy, what do you say, those red blood corpuscles or white blood corpuscles, they act very healthy in your body. It becomes a defense mechanism to other diseases or whatever. You're able to combat more better rather than living a stressful or frustrated life. So this emotional pleasure is 1,000 times more parthiva rasa, physical pleasure. And if I have to compare intellectual pleasure or Brahman rasa, that is 10,000 times more than emotional pleasure. And compared to all that, it's a little bit technical. I'm just coming to this point because I want to show that how much can human beings achieve. We still stuck on emotional and physical pleasure, but bhakti rasa, if you compare, the bhakti rasa is an ocean, then Brahman rasa is not even a drop there. That is the amount of bliss, that is the amount of spiritual pleasure which is accessible only to human beings. Yeah? That is A, ability for higher inquiry, bliss which makes us special as humans. And then there is choice. Again I can remember a story of Buddha. Buddha and his friend, Lihi, he was standing and they were just talking about something. And the person was very envious of Buddha's popularity. He came and he started giving, A-class bad words, abusive language to Buddha, who had done nothing to him. And Buddha was just smiling at him. His friend was looking at Buddha. What are you doing? Here too, this guy is one. We can beat him up, anytime. But why is Buddha not doing anything? So this person is going on speaking such rubbish things, absolutely untrue and such abusive language, dirty language, and he goes away. Buddha does nothing, he turns to his friend and starts talking normally. He says, wait a minute, I'm too disturbed by this, How can you not do anything? This person just tells you anything. He takes you for granted, walks over you, tramples you, and you're just quiet about it, you do nothing about it. And Buddha says, why are you getting so agitated, He said, because you're my friend, it affects me, yeah. He said, okay, fine. Just imagine, I give you 5 crore rupees. Imagine. I'm not giving you. Just imagine, I give you 5 crore rupees. You don't take it from me. To whom does the money belong? To me? Sure. That person is giving me so many abusive languages. I don't take it. मेरे को चाहिए ही नहीं. Whom does it belong? To that person. Keep it with you. Am I a garbage bin? That I'd say take sabka kachra and keep with me. No, I'm a garden. I want to be very beautiful. I don't take anyone's kachra. Let them be with them. That is the choice that human beings can make. Between the activity and between the response, there's a gap. किसी ने मुझे चाटा मारा, मुझे react करने से पहले एक gap है उसमें. What is that gap? It's called stimulus. In that stimulus, in that time period, I can think. Can animals think? You hit them, they hit you back. You love them, they love you back. They don't have a choice. For years together, tiger will always eat flesh. They won't think, "Arey, bahut thak gaya hai. Every day I eat flesh. आज सारा घास खा लेता." or the deer thinks every day I eat grass, आज कुछ और खा लेते. They don't have a choice. They have a very, if you see such a patterned response, if humans have to do like this, bore हो जाएंगे. Because we have something called choice. We can eat everything under the sun. No? We have a choice. We can make choices. When someone acts badly to us, we can either just shut up or we can get down to their level and fight with them. No, keeping no difference between them and us. Isn't it? We have a choice to keep our integrity, to be better, or to fall down and come to their level. Isn't it? We have a choice as humans. We have ability for higher inquiry. We have that access to bliss. We have choices. And something we also have, something more additional, other than the power to choose, is that determination to stick to those choices. I remember there was one student when I was doing this class, they were saying, but no man, no, I don't have any determination. Hey, Sumit, I want to lose weight. She was saying, not me. I'll disappear if I have to lose weight. She says, I want to lose weight, but I don't have determination. Simple thing is getting up in the morning and going for a walk, I can't do that. What would you say? She doesn't have determination? Willpower. No willpower. Willpower, determination, same thing. No determination. No, what I told her? I told her you're determined. You're determined to sleep rather than lose weight. Isn't it? Determination hai, but to do the wrong things. What you have to do is just make the right choices and then stick to those choices. Channelize your determination in the right direction. Determination is definitely there. That is what humans have. If you're not determined, then you become like an animal. You just do whatever which is not good for you. You can't decide. Discrimination, determination, these are things which are additional in human beings. Dharmo itesham adhiko vishesho dharme nahina pashubhi samanam. He said, without this ABCD, if you're still stuck with seed, sleeping, eating, enjoyment, defending, what do you become? You're as good as an animal.
And other times you need to defend yourself.
Yeah, I'm not saying no. SEED is there, but only that, there's some problem. ABCD भी apply करना पड़ेगा. Otherwise you're like this. We all are like this. Simply, if you don't explore this potential of ABCD, then we are stuck as simply well-dressed, sophisticated, polished, two-legged animals. That's what the Shloka Mahabharata says. Dharmo hitesham adhiko vishesho dharme nihina pashubhi samanam. In fact, what happens is, if we don't use ABCD, if we don't have the right choices in life, if we don't have determination in life, if we don't use the ability for higher inquiry and achieve that amount of bliss, then we become worse than animals. How is that? Sleeping pills. Animals need sleeping pills. Peaceful. You see crowded stations, I've seen crowded stations. Everyone is so frantic. But that dog will sleep right in the center of the platform. सब उसके ऊपर से जा रहे हैं. Everyone is like, क्या यार, this, that, with the dog. But the dog is peacefully sleeping. Noise है, इतना खचखच है, noise pollution, air pollution, absolutely no question, there's threats, scarcity. If there's often this joke, what is God in the temple? If you have this big gunny bag of grains, just lying on the center of the road. I've told you this before, so remember? It's lying on the center of the road. Some pigeons will come, they'll pick up their dana for today, they'll go. See, a human being will come. He'll pick up the entire gunny bag and go. Can he eat so much at a time? No, but hoarding. That greed is so much. You apply that ABCD, the choices, the determination, the higher inquiry, कि अरे कल का भी हो जाएगा, परसों का भी हो जाएगा. That hoarding mentality. उससे क्या होता है, दूसरे का कोटा भी हम लोग ले जाते हैं. Right? So this is scarcity. Heartbreaks. Ever seen monkeys committing suicide because she left me? stress management, really, addictions, suicide. In fact, you see all these species, they're so protective of each other. You will never find any species who is systematically trying to finish their own species. They live together in colonies. They only are humans who find faults, who find a threat in other human beings. Can't live together. Mother-in-law, daughter-in-law can't live together. Threat or theft. All these things happen because we don't use ABCD. We live only with SEED. Animal life is like tractor. This is the basic thing of sleeping, eating, enjoyment, defending. Basic things it is doing. Tractor, it's supposed to be used in a mill to plow, to do these difficult things. Mercedes car, if I go and use it like a tractor, what happened? Okay, tractor even like. It won't. Mercedes is luxury. Humans are meant to do something higher than that. We behave like animals, simply thinking of eating, how to eat the best food, how to sleep the best way, how to enjoy the best ways. We may as good as animals. That is meant for higher pleasure. Right? So this is what makes us special. This is what gives us a goal of our life. Animals don't have any goal in their life. Their life is mechanical. Every day they wake up in the morning, they go search food, they search for their prey, end of the day finished, over. Humans will always have goals in their life. They have happiness as their goal. But the question is, what kind of happiness are we looking for? Permanent happiness. Happiness that is ever increasing. If I think this particular object will give me happiness, let's say we are all women here. Let's take a woman. Say a bag. If I think this particular bag will give me happiness, I use it 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 1 month, 1 year. You use the bag for later. What do you think about it? What happens? The amount of happiness that thing is giving me decreases every day. It's not ever increasing. Imagine if you have some kind of object which gives you ever increasing happiness. Some happiness that I can share with loved ones. Not just to myself. I can share with others also. Sometimes we are not happy because some loved one is going through some difficult time. If I can share my happiness with that person, that is permanent happiness. And variety. Right? So variety to hona chahiye. That same thing every day will give me, bore me out. So this is the kind of happiness that I am looking for. If any of these things are absent, then what I have left with me is, if these characteristics are absent, then it's relative happiness. It's called relative happiness because it's either depending on someone else. Relative happiness or temporary happiness, whatever I call it. No? If you see, now let's see what is real happiness. Real happiness is that permanent happiness. It's ever increasing. I can share it with loved ones. All these things there should be variety. Then it is real happiness. If these characteristics are absent, then it's simply relative happiness. For us, what is happiness today, Can you imagine what it is? Distance between one problem to the next. Yes or no? Exam become happiness. The college starts again. Yeah? Or one problem, one crisis. Yes? Yes, Punya? Really? Sorry, huh? Thank you. You're coming inside? You want to come? No. Going We almost come to half of the session actually.
Sorry, we got you late.
We were discussing relative happiness and real happiness, right? Relative happiness and permanent happiness, temporary happiness. We get relative happiness when we are simply solving relative problems. As I told you, happiness for us is simply a distance between one problem to the next. That's what we were discussing. Have you noticed that? One problem is over. Before the next problem comes, that relief period that I have in between, I think that is happiness. That is not happiness, that is relief. Sorry. Relief is something else. Happiness is something else. When my child is too small, I just feel hot. When he grows up, I'm like, okay, fine. That's relief. That's not happiness. One crisis, maybe say financial crisis, something, when that's over, you throw a party, okay, fine, I got this particular thing. That's relief. That's not happiness. Relative happiness means it's relative to someone, or it's depending on someone. Right? Do you want such happiness which is depending on someone? Or you want happiness independent of? Independent. So relative happiness is achieved when we solve relative problems. Real happiness is achieved when we solve real problems. Now for their sake, I'll just do a quick recap. So I can see you all are lost. Day 1 is search for happiness. I'll give you, in your notes there's a recap of what we're going to do in the 6 sessions also. So maybe in the end we can sit for it. Search for happiness. And I was just discussing with that 6 billion people in this world are searching for happiness but no one has found it. Itna kya khas hai? Yeah? So then we came that how are we special? We did a discrimination between animals and us as humans. Animals are...
Don't leave this open, I'm leaving.
Okay. Because I won't know if anyone comes to the office, so I kept this open.
So should I leave this
Itna open.
Yeah, you see that part of the video.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. How are we special? We discuss things between humans and animals. There is something common between us and animals, that is sleeping, eating, enjoyment and defending. All our activities, brushing this, that, working, everything boils down to sleeping, eating, enjoyment and defending. Sleeping, nidra, eating, enjoyment includes all the entertainment that we have, and sexual enjoyment also to a very gross level. Yeah, or some emotional pleasure that everyone is looking for, maybe a dinner out with family, just like a break. All this comes in enjoyment. And last is defending. Defending your territory, defending your children, that even animals do. Right? So this is common things between us and animals. I was going to say us and humans. So us and animals. Yeah? And then there are some differences, some things which are extra, which are adhik in humans. That is A, B, C, D. We just finished that before we entered. Ability for higher inquiry, asking why is this happening to me, which animals don't ask. And then bliss. Now we did Parthiva Rasa, maybe I can do it in the end with you, Swargya Rasa. Emotional pleasure, intellectual pleasure, and spiritual pleasure. All these types of pleasure, these are 4 types of pleasure that we did, which is not accessible to animals, but accessible only to humans. You cannot teach things about God, how to pray to God to animals. Only humans have these additional things. And choices. If someone says something to us, we have a choice. Choices of falling down to the level of that person or just keeping our dignity. That is the choices that humans have. Animals don't. You harm them, they harm you back. We have choices. And the last D, A, B, C, D, D is determination that humans have to stick to their choices and animals do not have. They have a very mechanical life. So what we were discussing just before you came is that if we lead that same mechanical life of sleeping, eating, enjoyment and defending, it makes us as good as animals. We need to use this extra ability of ABCD if we want happiness. That search for happiness. And now we were discussing about happiness. What is relative happiness and what is real happiness? Or in the words that I've written on the board, permanent happiness and temporary happiness. Temporary happiness is when we solve temporary problems. The next thing. Permanent happiness is when we take care of permanent problems. So now what I'm going to look after is what is a temporary problem or what is a relative problem. When one man's food is another man's poison. When I go with a toothache, the dentist is happy. Yes, तो पैसा बनाएगा और कैसे बनाएगा? Right? If everyone was hale and hearty, would the doctors make any money? No. A rich man who's so stressed with his work, he just wants to go and settle down in the hill station. And the other poor people in the hill station would give anything to be in the rich man's place. You see, the grass looks greener on the other side. Is that okay? Who's Vidbata and who's Nupur?
I'm Vidbata.
You're Nupur. Sorry, we'll just tell your name together so I didn't realize. Umbrella shop and a vegetable seller. Vegetable seller who's selling his wares on the road, he just wishes it never rains, so that he can. And a person who owns an umbrella shop thinks that it should rain throughout the year. Please, I make my money. So when our happiness is dependent on some factor, it's relative happiness. It doesn't give us happiness for a permanent time. Yeah? Is that clear? What is a real problem? A real problem is something which is CNN, the acronym. Common to all, no one wants it, everybody gets it. Can you refer to any problem in this world currently which is common to all, no one wants it, but everyone gets it? Simran, you know what is it? You should attend this class before something. What?
Falling sick.
Falling sick, yeah, it is. It is one of those. It's common to everyone, rich or poor. In fact, rich falls sick more. Yeah. No one wants it. Anyone wants to fall sick? Everybody gets it. Yeah, you're right. Falling sick. Anything else?
Environmental problems.
Environmental problems. Common to all? Everyone has environmental problems. People in villages.
Stress.
Stress. Yes. It is common to all. People, at some point of time in their life, everyone goes through a little bit of stress. Maybe when the children are growing up, or when they get married, they're stressed now. Where am I going? Or, college. Everyone goes through stress. No one wants it, everyone gets it. So let me take this as this. What does Bhagavad Gita say? What are real problems of this world? Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. Krishna says, Janma is birth, Mrityu is death, Jara is old age, and Vyadhi is disease, falling sick. Dukkha doshanu darshanam. Ye gave us darshan of dukkha, that is distress, and dosha, faults. He gave darshan of these things. Everyone, it's common to everyone. Everyone takes birth. Is there anyone who's never taken birth? No, Krishna says, what is that? Jatasya dhruvam mrityu, dhruvam janma mritasya. Anyone who has taken birth will die. Anyone who's died, will take a birth again. It's common to all. Nobody wants it, everyone gets it. But you might think when a baby takes birth in your family, you are happy. Why is Krishna saying it's a problem? Why is he saying it's a permanent problem? It's a permanent problem because it fits in that definition of common to all and no one wants it, everyone gets it. But why is it a problem at all? Birth is such a happy thing. Can you see this baby crying? Is he happy? If it was a good thing, then they would have these deliveries. I'm sure you all are mothers, all of you. I know you all are mothers. All of them. Simran and me are there. You see, you all have delivered children. Do they come out happy, joyful, laughing? Not yet. Yeah, no. They come out crying.
It's a joke. Obviously.
Yeah, that's it. They don't cry. The doctor stands there. That means there's some problem with the child. And then he stands and then he starts crying. This entire process of birth, Srimad Bhagavatam says in the second canto, is a very difficult process for the child. For the mother, of course, it's a painful delivery, but for the child also. All of us have been through a difficult journey of those 9 months. Imagine if I fold you, cramp you up in a gunny bag, fill in all stinky fluid in it. Can't get out, you can't move. Whatever the mother eats, pungent, sour, it just burns your skin like anything. What will you do? And you can't get out till the time comes. It's difficult. Because we don't remember it, we think it's normal. But birth, as Krishna says, is a difficult process. And then, because it starts at death. Again, Shastra says that, tell me if it's getting too depressing, because we'll be discussing these things now. We're discussing problems now. We want permanent happiness, we have to take care of these permanent problems. Starts with birth. Next is death. Anyone who's not going to die? I wish. Superman. When Superman died, no? He died or is he back? I can't remember. That actor? He's still on the wheelchair? I think he's back. Anyway, he's dead. Right? Now the Yaksha Yudhishthir, he went to this place. It's a long story, I'll cut it short. Where all the Pandavas, they had water from this very mystical lake, and they didn't answer the question of the person who was in charge of the lake, and they fell dead. And then Yudhishthir had to answer these questions, and then they came alive. Yeah. There were 8 questions. One of these questions was, what is the most amazing thing in the world? This was a question asked by the Yaksha to Yudhishthir. And you know what is the most amazing thing Yudhishthir answered? Do you know the answer? He said that it's quite amazing that everyone in this world around me or around people, they die. But that person thinks that I will live on forever. They make plans. They keep alarms to get up next morning. Listen, that is not part of the answers. Yeah, we have faith, that we know that everyone will die. In fact, all the men, generally in our custom, only men go to but they never think that, I'm going to lie down over there one day.
But if you think like that, how will you live?
That's one amazing thing. But we don't think about death. And then death becomes equally troublesome. It said, it's like 40,000 scorpions biting at the same time. If I say this to a villager, he'll die. Because just out of shock. Because they actually know that in a scorpion bite, people don't die of the poison, they die out of the pain. The pain of you don't know where you're going. You don't know what's happening to your body. It's a very painful process. Death, uncertainty, and old age. Birth, death, and the third permanent problem is old age. Everyone is going to go through old age. What if people die early? Old age, why it's a problem? Now, it's not only the old age, but proximity to death. When you're young, you know that अभी है at least 60-70 साल तो मालूम है हम लोग जिएंगे, so you have hopes. But once you're old, you're short coming close to death. So that fear, that insecurity, all your life, imagine, God forbid, none of us, I pray, none of us go through this period, but what if we become vegetables? Just dependent on someone else. All your life you've been independent, but then you're dependent on someone else. That old age. You find, you have old people at home. They become grumpy, they become insecure. Because they have this whole emotional turbulence going through that your own body doesn't cooperate with you anymore. You don't look as good as before. you're old. So that's a difficulty. And then disease, which is again common to everyone. In fact, newer and newer disease comes and newer and newer, scientific advancement. We find solutions to this cancer, to that, but then again there's something new. That's common to everyone. And besides these 4 problems, there are extra 3 problems which happen at a period of time. It's common to everyone. No one wants it. Everyone gets it. But it's relative again. But it's common throughout this planet. The number 1 is miseries through mind and body. It's called adhyatmic problems. Adhyatmic klesha, adhyatmic miseries. This mind, it can give you such problems, addictions or depression, stress, frustration. Everyone goes through it in different points of life. These are adhyatmic problems through body and mind. The second type of problem is problems through other living entities, adhibhautic. If you were alone in an island, you would have been very good, peaceful. Somebody extra in the house, there is problem. Problem given by other living entities. It could be, just your neighbor. It could be your business rival. It could be your mosquitoes. It could be anything. Cockroaches. Which can give you potential migraines. Your booby. Anyone. Your maid. Your mother-in-law. Your daughter-in-law. Anybody. Will give you some problem. Miseries due to other living entities. And then there is natural disturbances. Is this common? It's pretty common. Earthquakes, forest fires, natural disasters, which are naturally happening. It's not man-made, not mantralaya. It's naturally made. Okay? These are natural disturbances. So then there is birth, death, old age and disease, which is a permanent problem, plus 3 more. Adhyatmic, that is miseries due to body and mind. Adhibhautic, miseries due to other living entities. Adhidaivic. These are again natural calamities. Because of all these problems, we are not able to get real happiness. Right now you might think, मेरे पास तो है, कुछ तो relief, कुछ तो happiness है. There is some temporary happiness. How do we achieve this temporary happiness? Through SMS. I'll just do a quick recap so that you know where we are. We didn't search for happiness. We are special because we are human beings, different from animals. What makes us common with animals? Sleep, sleeping, eating, enjoyment, depending. What makes us stand out between animals? Ability for high inquiry, bliss, following, choices and determination, ABCD. So these are the things which give us an extra edge to happiness. If we follow ABCD in our life, it will give us happiness. If we don't have ABCD in our life, we become worse than animals. I forgot to mention that slide. If we have addictions, we have stress, we have suicide, because we don't use ABCD, we simply live life like animals, mechanically. So there is permanent happiness, there is temporary happiness. Permanent happiness is blocked because of permanent problems of birth, death, old age and disease. And miseries due to natural calamities, miseries due to body and mind, miseries due to other living entities. This is what blocks my permanent happiness. And everyone thinks that by some more, like if suppose I have some disease, I'm just giving you an analogy to understand the next connection. If I have some disease, some medicine is prescribed to me by the doctor. But the medicine is going to take some time for me to cure. But at the same time, this disease is very painful. So what do? Take a painkiller. Can I take a painkiller? Is it the solution to my problem? No, but it gives me some relief. Because this thing is giving me relief, because this medicine is taking too long, too much time to take, so I ignore the medicine, I take only the painkiller. What will happen?
Temporary relief.
It's a temporary relief. Will it cure my problem? In fact, for a long period of time, if I take only painkillers, क्या होगा? the body will stop reacting.
I mean,
Yeah, in fact, my disease will get worse. So I stop taking painkiller. Can I do that also? No, I do both, right? I can take the painkiller, but also take the medicine. So if I compare this painkiller to temporary problems of my life, just because I have birth, death, old age, disease and this adhyatmik, adhidaivik, adhibautik, does not mean that I don't take care of the temporary problems of my life. Like toothache. It's a temporary thing, it's not a permanent thing. If I think, नहीं ये birth, death, disease so और भी important है, तो ये toothache को जाने दो. I do that, right? I have to take care of my temporary problems too. But the problem with human beings is they're only running after these temporary problems and not looking at the real problems. If you solve only temporary problems, what will you have at the end of the day? Temporary happiness. If you solve permanent problems of your life, what will happen? It will give you permanent solution, permanent happiness, and then these temporary problems will exist no more. Just like the painkiller has to be taken with the medicine. The medicine will take care of even, that my need of taking painkillers. Is this clear or is this confusing? This is okay? And with that I'll go ahead.
no matter what is birth, death, old
There
age.
is a solution. First there is a solution. Permanent happiness is a solution. Right now these things are blocking it. Yeah? I'll go ahead. Suppose if I have this person has a boil. Yeah? He's simply putting some ointment, some cream, just scratching it day and night. Sometimes if you scratch a boil, just around it, it gives you some relief. But what's it doing is making it worse. Yeah? If I simply take a blood purifier injection, I'm solving it from the root. Yeah? But if I simply take a painkiller, it gives me superficial relief. Yeah? What are the painkillers that we use in this world? Advantages to hai painkiller. I'm not saying ki chuck the painkiller. It gives you instant relief, it's cheap and easily available. Painkillers are easily available compared to the medicine. Medicine ke liye prescription lagta hai. Right? And then disadvantages is, it gives me side effects. It's not a permanent cure. Can make the disease worse. Yeah? So the painkillers that human beings use today is SMS. Scientific advancement is the first S. Mental speculation is the second temporary solution that we use, or the second painkiller that we use. And then superficial religion is the third painkiller that we use. We think that by using this, I will solve the real problems of my life. I'll tell you how. You might think that's impossible, but actually that's what we do. Scientific advancement, the first S. Does it solve my problems sometimes, scientific advancement? It does. It's only a temporary problem. It's not a permanent solution. In fact, I'll just give you an example. Suppose there is a problem of walking long distances. So that's why with scientific advancement, we have cars, we have vehicles, we have automobiles, we have public transport. Yes, is that right? So this problem, this temporary problem of my walking, I have solved by having a car. This scientific advancement is also like a painkiller. Thoda wo problematic hai. Why? Because of these cars, because of these things, today I have air pollution. So much air pollution that in Bombay, it's as good, when you live in Bombay, it's as good as smoking 10 cigarette packets a day. So to solve this temporary problem of walking, I've given up my basic need of breathing. You understand why this scientific advancement is problematic? To solve one problem, I've made even my basic need worse. Got it? This is the problem. Scientific advancement. TV screens are getting flatter, but my tummy is getting bigger. Yeah? Problem of old age. It's a permanent problem. I think that with a painkiller or with scientific advancement, I can solve the problem of my old age. White hair, कोई बात नहीं, कलर है ना. Teeth is following, no problem. Cosmetic dentistry is there. Then what? Wrinkles, Botox. Does it solve the problem of old age? Does it? No. Does it solve the problem of death? It's only a joke. It's only a camouflage. There was this joke, and I don't know if we have time for it. Someone has to do. Next time I'll tell you. Does material advancement provide solutions to real problems? You can see, that first painkiller that we're taking, thinking that my permanent problems will be solved with that. There is huge information through internet, there's quick communication, there's global connectivity. Then we have problems of health issues. Such problems with my neck, because of laptops, and they're bad. And then impersonalism, so much of impersonalism with BBM, so many connectivity ka koi problem hai? No, but husband and wife don't have time to talk. When you talk to your children, they're too busy with their iPads, with their games. This is what scientific advancement has done. We wanted to get the world closer, but they're simply drawing apart. And then pornography, such a major problem, especially in US. It's not so much in India yet. Yeah. Look at this impersonalism. You read it? You can see it in the book. It's just that the mother's asking how have you been, and the mother's asking her, sign off the computer and come down and have dinner. There are many slides like that, we just don't have time for it. I'll show you the best one that I like. Yeah, this. This is nice. Can you see what it is? This is the best slide. The second painkiller that we take to solve our permanent problems is mental tricks. There was this there was this person who was very depressed, and he went to a very good psychiatrist. The psychiatrist gave him a lot of, self-help techniques and this and that, and some even depression pills. But this person was just not, alright. He would be very lonely. He's very lonely. He didn't have anyone. He didn't have friends. So he was talking to the psychiatrist every day, and one day the psychiatrist just got so fed up. He said, "You know what you should do?" He drew the curtains of his clinic, and he said, far away in that end of the town, there is one beautiful circus. Whenever I'm depressed, whenever I'm lonely, I just go to the circus. उस circus में ना एक clown है, and he's so funny. He makes everyone laugh. You're so depressed in life, you just go there, sit there for 1 hour. At least for 1 hour, you'll have a good time. That person became more depressed. He said, "You know what? I am that clown." Do you know Dale Carnegie? Famous writer. He wrote that book. His most bestseller was How to Make Friends. You know how Dale Carnegie died? No? He committed suicide. He jumped out of his own window. And his letter, his suicide note said that I'm very lonely. Yeah, you can Google it. Apparently not on him. So these self-help books, people also who are writing it, it's not helping them. How can it help us? Maybe temporarily it will give you solutions. I'm not saying that, but again it's a temporary solution. It's not going to solve the problem of this BDOD, this birth, death, old age, disease, adhyatmik, adhibautik. These are permanent problems. Common to everyone. No one wants it. Everyone gets it. Even Dale Carnegie. Yoga and meditation. I've added this yoga and meditation here. It will give you again some temporary relief. So of course, when day-to-day stressful life, yoga kind of calms you down. Does it solve your problem? I wish. Doesn't. Your problems just don't disappear. That's this superficial religion. The first problem was scientific advancement. The second problem, or the second painkiller, or the temporary solution that I'm trying to solve my permanent problems with, is mental tricks, the self-help books, or some positive thinking, anger management. And the last is superficial religion. There's a very funny story I'll tell you. There was this old man, 85-year-old, businessman, and he had done business for a very young age, and then he had self-made person basically. He didn't have any backing from any family, and he had stood up by himself, and he was so workaholic. Even at the age of 85, when his whole body is so weak, he would still want to work, and always thinking about business. His children were worried. His wife was worried. He was thinking, "Arey yaar, abhi bhi just chodo, just get detached. You're old, you're going to die, and don't think so much about the business." So these children, they came up with a solution. They called one Baba, and they said, "Kisko leke jao Tirth Yatra mein aapke saath." Maybe if he goes to these places, he'll get some gyan or some just living with you. This Baba said, okay, and they gave him a big lump sum amount to this Baba. The Baba also was very happy. So they took him to this trip, all sponsored trip, all over the world. He was going to all these holy places, to Rameshwaram, to Vrindavan, to this, to that. Everywhere this businessman would go, he would only talk about business. ये कितना कमाता है? इन लोग कितना पैसा बनाते हैं? ये तो सही है. My God, this person was thinking, if I stay with him, I will become a businessman. He's not going to become saintly. What to do with him? Finally, after so many days of Tirth Yatra that they did, he finally took him to Banaras. That Ganga Ghat where all the bodies are burnt. And they said, ये last जगह है. इसको तो कल मैं अपने घर पे dump करके आऊँगा, नहीं तो I will stop being holy. I'll start becoming like him. Association matters. So that's why he said, the last place, last stop. And thinking like that, when he looked at this person was crying. This 85-year-old, stuck to business, workaholic, was crying. He had tears in his eyes. And the saintly man thought, finally I'm successful. Finally I can tell his sons that he's changed. And he said, so why are you crying? So he said, no, I was just looking at these bodies burning. Everyone will die, right? He said, yeah, this is Gita Gyan. This is right, Okay, yeah, everyone's going to die. He said, every person is going to die. Every person will burn like that. He said, yes, absolutely. You're totally right. You got it. You've done it. So he started crying even more. So this man thought, don't worry. It's okay, We'll do something about it. So that's the sabko aata hai. He said, exactly. I wasted my life. And the same thing, I said, yes, you should have come with me before. He said, no. सारी जिंदगी मैंने कपड़े का बिजनेस किया, मुझे लकड़ी का बिजनेस करना चाहिए था. Everyone is going to die. Everyone will need lakdi more, na? So then this person thought, oh God, it's too much. This is superficial religion. Just watching some Astha channel, some feel-good factor, just doing something without a transformation of heart is useless. That is superficial religion. No problem. We also said the end. You can take it. Oh, you're moving out from here?
So I'll take it.
No problem. You've written your name on it or anything?
No. I don't written anything inside.
Okay. I can give you a new set.
Yeah.
Thank you. One sec. Simran, take prasad, please. You can give it to your friends.
Yeah. Thank you. Never could have given cookies for anything.
Maybe I can afford it. Okay. Superficial religion is the third thing. So to achieve temporary happiness, we're trying temporary solutions. We're trying scientific advancement. We're trying mental tricks. We're trying superficial religion, thinking that these things will solve our permanent problems too. Will they solve? They give us some relief. I'm not saying no. Mobiles is better, now you can keep track of your children also. Supposedly. Yeah. So it solves some problems, but we're going full speed with these temporary problems, but there's no sense of direction. We don't know where we're going. We don't know where to go to get that real happiness. Yeah? It's just like, what is the permanent solution to it? Imagine if I ask you this question. You see a beggar on the road. Yeah? You identify that beggar is actually a son of a lost son of a millionaire. And that person, that son has lost his memory, he doesn't remember that he is the son of a millionaire. What will you do for him? Will you give him his scientific advancement? You'll give him an iPad, you'll give him an iPhone, you'll give him all these things? to make his life better? Or will you tell him that, some good gyan, that, think positive, be positive, you'll give him some food, you'll give him some shelter, some clothing, you'll give him some, send him to some Baba because he's very depressed, or some mantra. Or will you take him to his father? You take him to his father? Really? I'm asking. Yeah. Isn't that? Because his father is a millionaire. He can do everything for that person. That person is depressed because he is lost from his parents. We have to revive our relationship with the Father, with God, to truly become happy. Because He is the one who can solve all our permanent problems. You might think, why? How is that? That's what we're going to do later in the further Fridays. But that is the perfect solution, not these. The real solution is to go back home to our real Father, because we are lost children of that Supreme Father. Once we connect with Him, the problem of our food, of our clothing, of our shelter, of our emotional relationships, everything will be solved. How, why, that we'll do. Yeah. I'm just right now trying to emphasize the point that without that connection, everything else is a temporary solution for me. Yeah? So what is a permanent solution? Problem is, first we have to realize that we're searching for the right thing. We're searching for happiness, but we're searching in the wrong place. Just like this man is searching for a diamond in a dustbin. Yeah? Or just like this man who's searching for water in a desert. He has to go to a place where there is water. Just like this place is called a Bhojanalaya. Why? Yeah, because there's Bhojan there, so there's the Bhojanalaya. This is a Madiralaya because there's alcohol. This place is a Vidyalaya because, same way, this is Granthalaya because there's a library, there's Granth available there. Krishna calls this place as Dukhalaya. Ouch, that hurts. What does Dukhalaya mean? Sad place. Alay, it's filled with dukkha. How will you find happiness here? Temporary happiness you will find, that I am not denying. Relief you will find. Permanent happiness agar chahiye, you have to connect with God. Yeah? And a Shashvatam, he says, eternally this place is there. Right? So we are searching for the right thing. We are searching for happiness, but in the wrong place. If Krishna calls this place Dukhalaya, then happiness is somewhere else. That we have to seek, that we have to find. As Jesus Christ says, seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be open to you. Okay, quick recap. What? Search for happiness, 6 billion people looking for the same thing, can't find it. Yeah. And then, we are special as human beings because we have that access. We can ask why we are not getting that happiness. Yeah? Seed is the common things between us and animals, sleeping, eating, enjoyment and defending. And then ABCD is something which sets us apart from being animals. Ability for higher inquiry, bliss, choice, determination. Makes us extra special. It can give us permanent happiness. Permanent happiness is something that I can share with others. It's variety, it's ever increasing. That is permanent happiness. If these things are not there, then it's a temporary happiness. Permanent happiness is when I solve permanent problems of my life. Temporary happiness is when I solve temporary problems of my life. And what is a temporary, what's a permanent problem? It's common to all. No one wants it. Everybody gets it. That's birth, death, old age, disease, adhyatmic, adhidaivic, adhi-bhautik. These problems are something which are permanent. By solving permanent problems, I will get permanent happiness. Right now, I am miserable because I am taking temporary solutions to solve my permanent problems. These temporary solutions are SMS, scientific advancement, mental tricks, and superficial religion. With this, I am trying to solve my permanent problem which is not working. If I have to search that real happiness, Krishna says, idhar nahi hai, dukhalaya hai. He's saying that it's somewhere else that we have to seek, we have to find, We find it with connection with God. How to do it will be later. The second question will be, does God exist? Is He there? Do you believe He is there? Yes? No? Why? Can you explain it to someone with conviction? Or do you say it's only a matter of faith? What do you say? Everyone talks about religion. In fact, this word dharma, I said dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesha. Many people think dharma is religion. But religion, it's an English word which is coming from a Latin word religio, which basically means faith. So that means if people don't have faith, God doesn't exist.
God, there's some power which exists, and it's the faith which drives you,
Towards Him.
Towards
There's
Him
no
and
faith.
on.
My question is, is there no faith, there's no God
Probably for the individual, yes.
for that individual. But what am I saying? Like, I'm saying permanently, does God exist or does He not exist? How do I explain even to an atheist that God exists? How do I scientifically prove to a German? I can't, na? For me, it's only stuck at faith and belief. But what we are going to do through the Gita and through research, we actually are going to give you proofs that God does exist. And the scriptures that are there, they are not just mythology.